Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Lami Ali. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. We begin from the National Assembly, where the Senate has given its support to the proposed amendments of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission Act to further achieve its mandate. Chairman Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs Michael Nachi gave the assurance during an oversight to the Commission. National Assembly correspondent Mobolaji Muribiring has the story.
The Senate on its oversight as the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission received briefings from the chairman on the gains and pains of the commission.
We're glad to say that we've attracted about 900 businesses into Nigeria that are diaspora. You get all the details, we have everything documented, and we're beginning to get the diaspora to invest back home. You can still help us get something done in this year's budget, because more than ever before, we need to do a lot more.
The committee, pleased with the submissions by the commission, assured of its legislative support.
The best way to approach this is actually to leverage on amending your law so that you can find a way to generate revenue and just get out of this budget process.
Whatever is the case, we'll be there for you. Any area we must help, because diaspora is not just meant for you people, it's for Nigerians.
In the coming days, the commission will be defending its 2023 budget as the National Assembly. In Abuja, Mobolaji Muribiring, NTA News.
Now, the Chairman Senate Committee on FCT, Senator Smart Adeyemi, has commended the FCT administration for providing standard facilities for hospitals in the territory. Senator Adeyemi gave the commendation when he led committee members on tour of some schools and hospitals in the FCT as part of their oversight functions. Unoze Yakubu has the report.
The educational institution supervising the government secondary school, junior secondary school 1 and 2, as well as the LEA primary school in Nyanya, to the Nyanya General Hospital and Asokoro District Hospital, as well as Government Science Secondary School Piakasa in Maitama. Members of the Senate Committee on FCT took time to inspect facilities after interfacing with the management of the institutions visited. Impressed by the facilities in the FCT hospitals, the committee chairman pledges to support the administration in its quest of upgrading facilities across its hospitals for the benefit of the teeming population. He also requests that a new hospital be constructed in Nyanya to decongest the only government-owned hospital in the area with overstretched facilities.
I think the FCT must start looking at establishing more government hospitals to meet the ever-increasing. Let me just say that Abuja is a city for all Nigerians, and they are free to come in. But the problem is that the burden will keep on increasing on the minister and his team. I think that is my take for it.
FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello, represented by the Permanent Secretary, disclosed that the administration has plans to build and install modern facilities such as the MRI, X-ray machines and radiology equipment in Asokoro District Hospital, but urged the National Assembly to ensure adequate budgetary provisions.
This partnership is really working for the residents because apparently it has switched some of the challenge of manpower. But notwithstanding, we are aware of these challenges and we are working to address them within the confines of resources we have.
Both the leadership of the FCT administration and that of the National Assembly are on the same page of having a developed nation's capital city that is in tune with the dreams of the founding fathers. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika says the ministry is determined to complete all projects in the aviation roadmap before the end of this administration. He was speaking when the Joint National Assembly Committee on Aviation inspected the second Abuja runway project at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. National Assembly correspondent Mobolaji Moribiring again reports.
And today, happily, the airport has been completely rebuilt, including the runway, the terminal building, the car park, the apron, the radar, and other works.
Those are the highlights of successes recorded in the aviation sector since the beginning of the current administration. To back his submission, the minister took the lawmakers round projects at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. With what they have seen, the committee is optimistic that ongoing projects will be delivered in recorded time.
This runway, when completed, will be the longest runway maybe in West Africa, the 4.2 kilometer, against the existing runway here, about 3.7 kilometer. So this runway also has other, which is coming with control tower, taxiway, and other facilities. And in inclusion, we're also expecting that in the second phase of this project, that you will have a terminal building.
Minister, congratulations.
Thank you.
That in your time we're able to have a second runway.
The visit is part of the statutory mandate of the legislature. In Abuja, Mobolaji, Moribiri, NTA News.
Domestication of the Kampala Convention by African nations remains key to addressing internal displacements. Elizabeth Omorui reports that this was the position of the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari at a ceremony in commemoration of the National Day for Internally Displaced Persons.
Everybody's running. I even run. I don't even think about my mother and my father. Everybody just run on his own. After we left there before, I now noticed that my mother is in Abuja.
Okasha's encounter with insurgents in Maiduguri is not fictional. Now, there is a new direction for him and other IDPs. Celebrating their resilience birthed the National Day for Internally Displaced Persons, and key players on displacement management are advocating funding of integrated durable solutions to aid their plight.
The federal government will continue to collaborate with the United Nations, with the state governments and other partners to scale up this initiative to other affected communities, and especially to promote the return of IDPs to their respective communities in safety and with dignity.
Nigeria, with 3.2 million internally displaced persons, has been equipping these survivors with life-changing skills to promote economic prosperity, insecurity, imposition, and health, with some of the issues raised needing attention.
Currently, various ministries, departments, and agencies of the government have made provision for services such as education, health, WASH, identification in the interest of refugees, IDPs, and returnees, promotion of self-reliance for the refugees and such other persons of concern is one of my ministry's key objectives as we strive to take them out of the humanitarian hands-out zone to sustainably becoming self-reliant members of the society. The Commission is therefore committed to facilitating access to social services, amenities in host communities, camps, and settlements in collaboration with all relevant stakeholders by increasing frameworks that boost their level of availability and accessibility.
With a 3-year action plan in the Northeast and shutting of IDP camps in Borno, it is expected that more camps will be closed to facilitate resettlement. The ceremony featured an exhibition, fashion show, award presentations, and musical performances. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Now, the Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, has empathized with the people and residents of Bayelsa State over the level of damage caused by flood. The minister expressed his sympathy during the visit to internally displaced persons camps where relief materials and food items donated by the Nigerian Contents Development and Monitoring Board were presented. Ebinemi Zitimiyola reports.
Moved by the level of devastation occasioned by the flood waters and the attendant effects on the people and environment, the Minister for State Petroleum Resources, accompanied by the Executive Secretary, Simbi Kesie Wabote, has visited the damaged sections of the River State axis of the East-West Road. The minister, who expressed shock over the level of damage, emphasized federal government's commitment to commence rehabilitation work.
What I went around to see was devastation. It was very sad. We went to the East-West Road. We saw the extent of damage on that road. We also went to the Amasoma Road. We saw the extent of damage to that road. We also overflew some of the communities, and we saw that some houses are underwater. The devastation is total.
At the internally displaced person camps, the minister encouraged the people not to despair in these trying times and that the relief materials and food items donated by the NCDMB is to ameliorate their pain.
I've come here to identify with you. Today, I have come with NCDMB. I have asked them to come with some palliatives.
Representatives of the various camps, Ebiwo Koku Obiai and Maria Olodu Osima, commended the NCDMB for the kind gesture. Items donated include mattress, mosquito nets, vegetable and palm oil, sugar, gari, rice, pasta, and condiments. Eniyenagwa, Ebinimi, Zitemiola, NTA News.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Haniri, has urged more funding to the sector to ensure well-being of citizens, as quality healthcare should not be sacrificed. It was during the 2023 budget defense session with the House of Representatives Committee on Healthcare Services. Here is the report. In 2022, he said, the capital allocation to the health ministry is 16 billion naira, but the proposal for 2023 has been pegged at 9 billion naira.
This is the health sector. People don't start getting sick less. They will even be sick more. So constraining the health sector budget in the new proposal will not be a very good idea.
So far, the ministry has received 8.6 billion naira, representing 50% of capital expenditure for 2022. The committee says both the executive and legislature have in the last 3 years collaborated to meet the minimum global threshold of allocation to the health sector.
The African Head of State mission is that we should get 15%. And gradually, since we came, we started around 4.5. And we are now ending around 8%. We hope that our incoming regime will reach that 15%.
Meanwhile, House Committee on Women Affairs has engaged management of the National Center for Women Development on the center's budget performance for 2022 and projections for 2023.
Most of our facilities now in the center are functioning, and this is because of your support, the way you supported us in the budget, last year's budget.
You are hereby allowed to take a bow and live with your team.
The committee also held a public hearing to amend the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act to further protect widows and women from all forms of abuse or discrimination from the national. Now, the Nigerian Television Authority says it will not relent on its efforts at promoting improved healthcare and the fight against gender-based violence. Africa's largest television network made this commitment when two relevant organizations, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors and the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, came calling for partnership. Joseph Utsan reports.
The wide network coverage of the Nigerian Television Authority has continued to attract advocates of development to it. The latest is the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, with a drive to have a window for health talk.
There is a deficit of information regarding health to Nigerians. And indeed, that is why most of the time, for some of our citizens who are not well informed, they seek health care in the wrong hands and they end up coming down with complications.
Director Medical Services NTA represented the Director General.
Between October 10th and 25th, period about 15 days, the UK registered about 91 Nigerian doctors. It's an alarming thing because our health indices are very poor. NTA can push to set this as an agenda.
The Nigerian Association of Women Journalists is another agent of women empowerment in press, with a vital role NTA is playing to curb gender-based violence and balance in the society.
Inclusion is very, very key, especially as we look forward to the 2023 general election. The media has a role to play in promoting the issue of implementation of the 35% affirmative action.
Their host, Director General of NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, while pledging commitment of the station to remain a bridge builder between citizens and government, tasked journalists to do more in curtailing negative impact of fake news.
That basically, most of the fake news emerge within the country, and we should not in any way try to pull this country down, because when it happens, none of us will be safe.
For the DG, NTA would never drag its feet to support any person or group with good intent for progress of Nigeria and its people. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
Now, the Court of Appeal sitting in Port Harcourt has affirmed Senator Degi Eremeyu as the authentic candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC for the Bayelsa East Senatorial District for the 2023 polls. In a unanimous judgment of the three-man panel of justices read by Justice Ike, the court dismissed the appeal by Sodaguwo Festusomoni, who was the appellant. The panel described the appeal as lacking in merit. The appeal court upheld the decision of the trial court, which found the conduct of the primary election of Bayelsa East Senatorial District as being substantially in compliance with the Electoral Act. With this verdict, Senator Degi Eremeyu, who is the current chairman Senate Committee on Host Communities Producing Oil and Gas, is the APC candidate for Bayelsa East Senatorial District. Now, the Prime Minister of Twin Islands of Antigua and Barbuda in the Caribbean says the Nigerian Television Authority NTA should serve as windows to the Caribbean, accessing information and culture, trade and investment opportunities between both countries. This is as Nigeria continues to grow bilateral ties with the Caribbean. Benny Adams reports.
I mean, we have a little bit of Nollywood here in Antigua and Barbuda. But I think it would be good, perhaps, if we could get maybe a news channel from Nigeria on our television, because again, we are only seeing what some media of the West, from the West, portrayed to us.
In furtherance to this request, the Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Gaston Brown received the last two editions of NTA TV Guide with a request that both countries share TV content in celebration of the African heritage, business and investment.
And I believe certainly that Africa, especially Nigeria, represents a significant opportunity for the Caribbean.
While commending the head of the Nigerian delegation, Mr. Emmanuel Sampson, for his efforts at attracting investment to the Twin Islands, the Prime Minister seeks his consent as he considers appointing him Antigua and Barbuda envoy to Nigeria.
Mr. Sampson is prepared to serve in that role, but that's a discussion I will have with Sampson to elevate the level of representation of Antigua and Barbuda in Nigeria.
On this flight, we have people from Cameroon, Ghana, so many countries. Barbados, Jamaica, they have more than 30 people go to Jamaica. They are connecting tomorrow. So it's going to be an up, like you said.
A member of commerce. From the Twin Islands of Antigua and Barbuda, I am Benny Adams, NTA News.
With a view to addressing the issues of rejection. This is coming as the two countries fine-tune arrangements to sign an agreement on the exportation of hibiscus.
This is the Nacional de Referencia Fitosanitaria in Mexico. Natural produce either going out or coming into the country. The delegation from Nigeria visited the center and they were acquainted with the procedures of inspecting farm produce. The idea is to ensure that pests and diseases are not transferred from one location to another. For instance, this room has the collection of pests detected in the country and how it was managed. Apart from the use of laboratories for disease detection, dogs are also trained on how to inspect fruits and other produce coming into the country through air and sea ports. This depicts how serious agricultural quarantine is to Mexico.
Putting all that together, I think generally we can actually say Senasika is doing a job that is quite impressive, and it's something that I think if we can replicate back at home, it will help a long way to help us control the influx of pests and diseases, which is the major objective of the quarantine service.
Es de parte de Nigeria, de los funcionarios de Nigeria, en el sentido de conocer las actividades que estamos haciendo como país.
And now this institution is willing to support Nigeria in the area of capacity building on how to dictate, treat, and also reject agricultural produce before exporting them into any country. From Mexico City, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Thank you, Musa. An additional 228 hectares of farmlands have been handed over to farmers in Kano and Jigawa states under the Gari Irrigation project resuscitated by the federal government after being abandoned for more than 30 years. Our Salif reports that the completion of the project, which was started by the defunct Petroleum Special Trust Fund, is part of broader plans of government towards sustainable food security and poverty eradication.
The Gari Irrigation Scheme, a project of the Federal Ministry of Water Resources, covers over 2,000 hectares of land situated across 5 local government areas in neighboring Kano and Jigawa states. So far, 5 sectors covering 1,065 hectares have been completed and handed over to farmers for cultivation. With this development, more farming families from the host communities and beyond will have access to large expanse of land for all year-round farming activities.
Farming communities, and we enjoy all the community leaders to encourage the farmers, both men, women, youth, to ensure that they use these facilities and it is sustainably utilized.
Sector 7 is about 70% complete, and we hope by the grace of God Almighty by December we are finishing this.
Awal Haruna, who is among the more than 7,000 farmers benefiting from the project, pledged to make good use of the infrastructure to provide for himself and his family.
We thank the Almighty Allah and President Buhari for the gesture.
In another development, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources has organized a sensitization workshop on women participation in water users association towards maintaining acceptable water quality and hygiene. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
A coalition of environmentalists and civil society groups are advocating workable actions towards mitigating environmental disaster occasioned by climate change being experienced in parts of the country. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim tells us more.
Research shows 2022 rainy season recorded the worst flood in recent times, with many houses submerged, farmlands washed away, and lives lost.
Our country, Nigeria, is very vulnerable to climate change. Fresh in our minds is the recent floods, which caused the deaths of over 600 Nigerians, displaced over 2 million people, many of which are still in the internally displaced persons camps across the country.
Electioneering period is approaching, and beyond distribution of relief items, the global initiative for food security and ecosystem is seeking for climate justice in party manifestos.
We are very worried that climate change is underrepresented in the campaigns for the 2023 general elections so far?
All women and youth to mobilize and let's vote for a leader that is more concerned with climate change issues.
And ensure that only candidates who seek to ensure that our environment is sustainable will get the vote of the people.
No one is immune to climate change, and as the world gets set to assemble for COP27 in Egypt, the group said Nigeria must emphasize on climate financing and bring home practicable solutions to mitigating flooding in Nigeria. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
Adiola will lead us in Lagos with stories trending from that zone. Hello, Adiola. It's over to you.
Thank you and welcome to Lagos. The Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service says it has increased border awareness and heightened surveillance within its area of responsibility to nip in the bud and wholesome importations that could pose security risks to the forthcoming general elections. The acting controller of the zone, Hussein Ejibunu, stated this while showcasing seizure for the month of October, in which the interception of more than 3,000 pieces of cutlasses is generating serious concern. Michael Olaleye has details.
It was one of the usual patrol of the Federal Operations Unit Zone A, with searchlight deliberately beamed on intercepting smuggled bags of rice. The customs said the discovery of a deserted hut at Ojodon in a Diroko area of Ogun State gave glimpse of hope of nailing targets, only for these 3,116 pieces of cutlasses to be seen. The country of origin is still unclear, but there are inscriptions on the cartons indicating made in Ghana. Why this consignment is a source of worry for the customs is simply because of the timing and manner of concealment. This is apart from lacking the required end-user certificate from the Office of the National Security Advisor, mandatory for such sophisticated imports.
This is election period now, and we need to fortify the nation. We need to ensure that items that could be of dangerous circumstance is not being brought in.
The initial quest for smuggled bags of rice paid off, with the entire seizure in the month of October equivalent of 12 trailers. But a scenario that played out somewhere in Oyo State in the course of seizing 500 bags of smuggled rice is still baffling the Federal Operations Unit Zone A.
Federal government say no to
it on the paper and everything that is not.
Look at the time. You traditional ruler leave your traditional stew to come and beg for contraband.
Within the month of October, 15 containers were seized by the zone for various infractions, in which only 3 were examined, while further actions on the remaining 12 were stalled by the failure of the importers and agents to show up. Apart from recording seizure with duty-paid value of more than 670 million naira, 11 suspects were arrested within the month under review. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
As the fight for poverty eradication the world over rages on, government, public and private sectors are championing the cause to ensure that people live better lives. Annie Daniels in this report takes a look at the possibility of eradicating poverty and promoting dignity among the populace.
That's the commitment of the international community to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people everywhere enjoy peace and prosperity. The current reality shows that 1.3 billion people still live in multidimensional poverty.
So we need to see what we can do to rein in on inflation, both from the point of view of the monetization of fiscal deficits and from the point of view of energy costs and from the point of view of the foreign exchange situation.
Nigeria remains resolute to this fight as government continues to initiate various policies and programs like the National Poverty Eradication Program introduced in 2001, school feeding programs, trader money, credit facilities by the central bank and many others as measures in addressing poverty.
I mean, in the 2000s, we created a telecommunication sector that has now accounted for about 18.44% of the GDP. It used to be an inconsequential share, or had an inconsequential of the GDP, but today it accounts for about 18.44%. We need to replicate that proof of concept that has worked in several sectors of the economy and create employment, and that's what we need to do to eradicate poverty.
Observers insist that the United Nations and nations of the world must draw the attention of individuals around the globe to commit towards striving for social justice, peace and protection of the planet, and poverty eradication. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And those are the stories from the City of Excellence. Benin City is where we will go next, and Agatha Egwarojo is standing by. But remember that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other verified social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. To stay with us, we'll be right back.
Nigeria, oh, better days are coming. Better days that gives us hope and strength. To keep the hope alive, bring the smiles back to all Nigeria.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria. Renewed hope beckons on our people. The silver lining dots the skies. The firmament portends a bright future as the people of Nigeria move to vote a man whom they have come to trust for the realization of their aspirations for a better Nigeria. That man is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He has been tested. He can be trusted. Vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria 2023. Vote Kashim Shettima as Vice President. Vote APC. Surely with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the smiles are returning. We are close to home.
Bring the smiles back to all Nigerians.
The Nigerian Television Authority NTA, in collaboration with Havel Corporate Concept, presents Beyond the Debate, a series for all the 18 presidential candidates in the 2023 general elections to present their manifestos and visions to the Nigerian public as a social contract. Beyond the Debate will broadcast live on the network service of the NTA and stream on YouTube and other social media platforms beginning from 10th November 2022. The publicly signed manifestos by the candidates will be uploaded on this portal, www.summitofpoliticalparties.org. For further inquiries, please contact Dr. Badanga 08033173488, Howard 08033121022.
When you think about hospitality and affordable luxury away from home, then you talk about Sharon Ultimate Hotels, a secured and serene environment that offers kingly services such as 24-hour room service, impeccable security with CCTV surveillance, parking lots, free Wi-Fi internet service, free complimentary breakfast, restaurant that offers continental and local dishes, well-equipped fitness center with instructors, swimming pool, 350 capacity multipurpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710, Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Gariki, Abuja. Sharon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
Thank you for staying on Nationwide and a warm welcome to Benin. Edo State government is to unravel Kwese Road in Akoko Edo.
It would be recalled that 10 unidentified corpses were discovered on Tuesday along a bush path in the community. Describing the incident as sad, the government says it has ordered autopsy be carried out on the corpses to unravel circumstances surrounding the mysterious deaths.
Police should investigate to find out what they are, how they got there, and what happened. That will find bodies of 10 young men. I think there was no sign of trauma or anything to determine how these men were killed or how they died. It was a very sad day, and Edo State government is not happy about this situation.
The state government commended the collaboration between the vigilante group, local hunters, and the police, which led to the discovery of the corpses. The government urged Edo people to give maximum support to the vigilantes in their localities. In Benin, Elizabeth Omoko, NTA News.
Concerned about the dangers of fake and substandard products, the federal government is stepping up campaign in Edo and other states in the south part of the country to key into its standardization program to deliver quality products for Nigerians. The initiative is a strategy of the Standard Organization of Nigeria in alignment with the Industrial Revolution policy of President Muhammadu Buhari. Obayotoba Prisai in this special report takes a look at this initiative.
Recent data from the National Bureau of Statistics indicates that the contribution of the industrial sector to the nation's GDP dropped from 21.36% to 20.56%. The federal government seeks to remedy this downturn. A key part of its strategy to catapult the nation's industrial growth is the sensitization of small and medium-scale manufacturers on the need for standardization.
If we do not allow only standard products to be sold in the Nigerian market, it means that substandard products can cause a lot of harm to people, can cause a lot of accidents. Talk about electrical products. If we don't have the right standard electrical product in the market, that's why you hear about fire in buildings.
These key players are grateful to the federal government's support for SMEs by creating a platform where multiple manufacturers can have joint standard registration.
They're providing shared facilities where they can access power, equipment, and those things that are very expensive for individual small order processors or small businesses to cater for. By so doing, that standards we're talking about can be easily monitored.
Now, the meeting of these key players will provide information to those who had known that some of the challenges they have perceived perhaps would not be as cumbersome as they thought it was.
Nigeria is one of the nations that have signed the African Continental Free Trade Area. The implication is to break the barrier of finding market for standardized locally made products. In Benin, Obayotoba Prisai, NTA News.
That's our package. Lami in Abuja has more on Nationwide. Many thanks, Agatha. Now, some youths have been lucky to have the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, to mentor them at a leadership conference aimed at discouraging the idea of leaving the shores of Nigeria in search of greener pastures. Rather, they look inward towards contributing to nation building. Aliu Tukur has the story.
These are selected youths from different geopolitical zones at this conference on leadership, a platform that seeks to prepare young minds for future leadership and entrepreneurship. For General Lucky Erabo, Leadership is the key component to nation building, which is also a collective responsibility.
So there's nowhere around the world that is safe from the vagaries of the challenge that we have here. It's also common to the global environment. So I think that for the youth, it's for them to have that understanding. That's part of what we try to share right in there. That it is for us. What we have here is for us to develop, is for us to dominate, to be able to live up to our dreams.
We need leaders with a high level of industry. We need leaders with high level of vision, innovation, people who can go the extra mile to create value. We need value creators.
The organizers of the annual event stress that it is important for youth to stay back and build the nation by harnessing the abundant resources. Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
The Nigerian military is enhancing empowerment package and welfare of officers and soldiers across formations in the country. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya has said this as the graduation ceremony for undergraduate trainees project in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
These are 234 undergraduates from different barracks in Abuja, successful product of the first stream of the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association NAOA Youth Development Project. The program at the NAOA Institute of Management and Technology comprises of an intensive information communication technology skills acquisition and entrepreneurial training.
It is heartwarming that the NAOA Youth Development Project is yielding positive results, as these trainees will be going back to their respective schools with added knowledge that would have significant impact in their educational pursuits and career development.
You have reduced drastically youth restiveness, since the skills acquired will enable them gain employment with some startup businesses emerging.
The gesture that Chief of Army Staff noted will boost troops' morale in the front line.
I want to assure you resources will be provided, will be supported. Any initiative that will empower and train and educate our youth in the barrack will be supported. So bring as many as you can.
Several laptop computers and cash gifts were distributed to participants.
This system will serve as an opportunity for me to improve myself, because I can install more operating systems like the Linux, which can help me in cybersecurity as a profession.
Now we're enjoying the graduates to be focused and self-employed. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Ebonyi State Governor Chief David Umahi has expressed readiness to mobilize the Ebonyi youths to enroll and take advantage of the ongoing recruitment into the Nigerian Army. Ijoma Peter reports.
In a bid to address the seemingly apathy shown by some young men and women towards enrollment in the Nigerian Army, the Deputy Director, Manpower Planning Army Headquarters Department of Administration, Brigadier General Akiniyi Oyelade, with his team, had a robust interactive section with stakeholders in Ebonyi State, where he advised youths to take advantage of the ongoing recruitment exercise and enroll into the Nigerian Army so as to meet up with the state's quota.
When you want to serve in the army, you want to serve in the armed forces, particularly the army, you expect that you are able, you are fit medically and psychologically. This movement that we're doing this time is for all placement and non-placement.
Representative of the state governor, Mr. Emmanuel Obasi, while appreciating the efforts and sacrifices of the army in sustaining peace and unity in the country.
It's wise, because in this era where we have TV operational challenges, there is no reason why a capacity local government should allow the opportunity to see more.
Some traditional rulers who were grateful for the sensitization promised to convince some of their subjects who are within the required age bracket not to miss the opportunity. In Abakaliki, Ijoma Peter Wante, NTA News.
In this part of efforts to further curb banditry and other forms of criminality, the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, has flagged off exercise Golden Dawn 2, put together by the Nigerian Army, 34 Artillery Brigade, Obenze. Beatrice Anyam, who witnessed the flag off in Olu local government area of Imo State, has the details.
Exercise Golden Dawn 2 2022 is the program of the Nigerian Army in the Southeast Zone designed to check security threats, usually associated with festive periods. Governor Hope Uzodinma expresses the hope that the exercise will increase the success story so far recorded in the war against insecurity in the state and the Southeast in general.
We apologize for the loss of audio in that report. We now move to Maiduguri to join Abubakar for stories trending from that end. It's over to you, Abubakar.
It's always nice to see you, Lami, and thank you for joining us here. The State Governor's Care Support promised foster parents of 300 orphans of civilian joined task force, hunters, and other volunteers who died in the course of counterinsurgency operations have been distributed to the beneficiaries. Director General, State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, Yaba Okolo, who distributed the items on behalf of Governor Babagana Umar Zulum, pledged government's commitment in providing humanitarian services to displaced persons, orphans, and less privileged members of the society. Here are more details of the story. To the beneficiaries, Yaba Okolo said the benefits given to the families of the fallen heroes by the state governor, Professor Babagana Umara, where he also provided scholarships, that the state governor is a pragmatic leader, 50,000 naira and wrapper, and urged the families to use the assistance given to them in taking care of their children. Special advisor to Governor of the deceased family went to the individuals to complement the effort of the state governor in providing humanitarian support to the families of the CJTF, hunters, and vigilantes. On behalf of the beneficiaries, the state governor is concerned towards their plan, saying her husband died 3 years ago at the battlefield, leaving her with 3 children, and prayed God to reward the state governor. It could be recalled that Governor Zulum last Tuesday officially flagged off the care support for selected 300 foster parents of late counterinsurgency volunteers, hunters, and vigilantes at the government house, where he directed the DG SEMA to immediately provide the items to the beneficiaries. The attention of this year's flood and other challenges affecting the women folk has led the Hope Initiative for Vulnerable to train and empower 100 women on livelihood support. The grassroots initiative, a humanitarian outreach of the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, is part of constituency projects executed in Kwayakosa local government to enhance quality of lives of the people. Pauline Kujivana will now bring us more details.
Rural women, the backbone of family and community life, are the first line of support when it comes to grassroots livelihood and development. This, therefore, formed the basis for the training and graduation of 100 women and youth at the Skill Acquisition Center established by Hope Initiative, a pet project of the Commissioner of Women Affairs, Zue Ragambo, in Kwayakosa local government area.
I was trained and given knitting machine, and I will use it to support my family. I have learned sewing and empowered with a sewing machine. I am grateful.
The initiative's poverty alleviation support was also extended to flood victims whose farms and homes were affected. while disabled persons received wheelchairs.
I was working without wheelchair until now, and I appreciate gesture.
The commissioner, who was fulfilled by her good deeds, pledged to sustain commitment to the plight of the people.
We did this to support the community. I have no option but to key into what His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Zulum is doing.
Other speakers praised all efforts geared towards women development and economic emancipation of the rural populace. The decades-long sustained humanitarian gesture earned her an award from a group of women of Bu local government area. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on the Nigerian Television Authority. Let's take another break now, but Nina in Enugu Network Center will be back with more stories for us thereafter.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring an impeccable personality with purposeful leadership. Alhaji Mohammed Meitakobi, the Executive National President of Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria.
In 774 local governments, will be able to put all our structures in everywhere. I'll be able to bring the Retians members together, to reconcile them, to come and work for the progress of the association.
Welcome to a world of fun and excitement as we also present an assemblage of professionals in the media space. Some compelling NTA programs, current trends in the fashion world, ICT, sports, entertainment, and lots more. Get a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide.